Hi guys, I am Savannah Hinde, and that is all I have memorized. And that is because I do a lot of different things, so when I talk about what I do, it's usually in different aspects. And I think Nate picked up on that when we met the first and only time. So I came here 2 weeks ago. I saw an Instagram post and I liked it, and then I showed up. And I started talking to Nate, and he asked me to give this speech or talk. And a lot of it's because of my work with Leadership Toledo, but there's also a lot that I do that we didn't talk about, which I thought would be interesting. And then I needed to figure out how I could take my story and then something that you guys could possibly learn from it and mix it together. And so that is why I'm speaking on how to open doors with the why not attitude. So I am an A-type personality. I get things done and I like to do them early. I am also an ENFP, which is a lot like an ENTP. I think it's the thinking versus feeling difference. Okay. And so that's kind of like happy-go-lucky and why not? So I have always been a doer and I've never been afraid of things, and that's because I usually get into things before I realize that I'm supposed to be afraid. And so like the first time that I can think of this is when I was in 2nd grade. There was a levy going on for the zoo, and if it did not pass, the elephants would be going away. And for me, who was an animal lover and went to the zoo every Monday, that was terrifying. So I decided that, levy or not, they're going to keep the elephants. So I drew these posters with an elephant on them, said, "Save the elephants," and then handed them out at a lemonade stand that I had. And I personally saved the elephants with my $3.25. Not really, but my dad was working as an electrician at the zoo during that time, and he took those posters in, and the zoo decided that it'd be a good media thing. And so I got to go and visit the elephants and feed them, and it got to go on the news, and a few weeks later the levy passed. Going on from that, when you look into my middle school, you see that as well. So in 8th grade, I was a part of my church youth group, and we did the End It movement, which talks about modern day slavery and human trafficking. And I was amazed that Toledo was like the 3rd and 4th like biggest contributor in the nation. And so I gathered a few friends, and I decided that we were going to have an End It week at my school. And so I took nail polish because I didn't have any Sharpies and I couldn't drive. So I made these X's, and I went to the principal and asked if I could do some announcements. And so that whole week was End It week. Also in middle school, one of the organizations that I work with is, or worked with, was the Toledo Pet Bowl Project. Have you guys ever heard of that? So the Toledo Pet Bowl Project, they work alongside the Toledo pit crew and then the Lucas County Canine Control. So what they do is they started out as just a free training program, and I love dogs. In 6th grade, I saw a dog show on TV, and I decided that I was going to put my dog in it. And 3 years later, me and my rescue mutt became one of the top youth in the nation for agility. And never took a class or anything, and it was just something that looked fun, and that was another why not. And so I got to work with the Pet Bowl Project, and I was also a part of this agility club, and they needed a way to allow their teens to do things and to help them raise money. And so I got to connect my two passions, the AKC and the Pet Bowls, and I got to have the teens come in and volunteer at the shows that we put on, and then we gave some of the funds to the Pet Bowl Project. And so going on from that, none of that would have happened if someone told me that I couldn't. None of that would have happened if I realized how big of a problem it was. I can't stop the 27 million people who are in slavery. I can't free each and every one of them. But I was able to look at it and hurt for them and do something about it. I decided, you know what, why not? And that's what I'm saying that you guys can do. And so moving on to that, going from 8th grade into my freshman year, I tried to start a Bible study at my school, and I started to get Young Life into Mommy, which we didn't have a chapter yet. And I failed miserably. But because I did that, I was nominated to be selected for Youth Leadership Toledo, which is a part of Leadership Toledo, which is my main organization now. And through there, I went through their sophomore program, and then I went on to their youth philanthropy program called Yippee. And there's like so many different names for it, and that's why Nate gets it mixed up, which I find hilarious because like I always thought it was like exceeding or achieving excellence, and I said it wrong every time that I talked about it until I was practicing for a different speech, and they're like, Savannah, that's not right. And I'm like, what? So I get mixed up too. But Leadership Toledo is such an amazing organization, and it has absolutely changed my life. Their youth program called YLT, I got in with my best friend Mark, and we were psyched because you got to miss a day of school each month. And that was the greatest thing in the world. And so we would go to different places within the greater Toledo area. We got to go to the Stranahan, we got to be on the top of the Fifth Third building. We went to the Boy Scouts camp, we went to the Disability Center, and we just got to see how amazing this city is. And that is one thing that has changed my view on this city, because everyone that I know who are in high school and who are my age hate Toledo. They want to get out because there's nothing here for them. And Leadership Toledo showed me that that was a complete lie. And that is one reason that I'm here, is because Toledo has cool things, and this is one of them, and I was able to give it a chance. And so one thing that they have the sophomores do is they get them into groups, and then they decide to do a project each year. And so my year, there was a group who did a 5K for orphans. There was a group who did a celebrity weight night for the Daughter Project, and they actually raised like $5,000 their first year and donated it all to the Daughter Project. And the next year they kept going and they raised $12,000. And this is a group of 14 and 15-year-olds. My group, we partnered with Cherry Street Mission and worked with their Sparrow's Nest, which is their women's shelter. And we went there bi-weekly and helped teach nutrition. Nutrition classes showed them how to shop organically, but in a way that allowed them to save money. And from there, it just set my heart on fire. And I wanted more and more and more and more. And so I got into as much as I could, and then I got to go into their youth philanthropy program, Yippee. And my junior year, I didn't do much. I was just kind of there because I was excited about it. And then at the end of the year, after we raised $19,000 as a group of 15 high schoolers, I got to speak to the Toledo Community Foundation board, and that's one of the things that I was talking about where I didn't know to be scared. So I walk into the room, and it's this just this sea of suits, and they have this really cool marble table with coffee warmers built into it, and I told them about how much fun it was and what I learned, and I guess I did a good job because then they asked me to speak at their Leadership Toledo breakfast the next year. And that's kind of where I really got involved, and that's where I became the leader of it. And so this year, yesterday was actually our final meeting, and we raised $20,733. And every single penny of that was raised by high schoolers, juniors and seniors. And every single penny of that is going towards local organizations. So we have grants come in that are from charities and organizations that help youth around Toledo. And so we have the ZEP Center, we have the Daughter Project, we have different safe houses, we have mobile meals, Boys and Girls Club, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. And they ask for money for different projects. And we, as a group of high schoolers, decide what our values are for this year. And so this year, we asked, would this project happen without us? And is it helping foster leadership, help mental health, or prevent drug abuse? And so through those, we turned $60,000 asked of us into 13 grants that were $40,000, and then went down from there. And so we were able to fully fund 8 projects and then partially fund 5, which is so cool. And in a few weeks, we get to present it to them at United Way. And last year, it was amazing. One of the groups, they asked for $500 to help build just benches. And they were the Children's Rights Collaborative. And so what they do is when teens, or like when children can't be with their parents because of court reasons, they go there and that's where they spend time. And so they get to play basketball, they get to go out to the park. And it's all like court viewed. And so they asked for park benches and some toys. And so we actually did a toy drive and gave it to them at the event. And the lady in charge, she left bawling, and it was amazing. And so from that, with the why not attitude, I would have never gotten into any of that without the why not. And I just wanted to end talking about how I got here, and then how that has like shown other things. So I saw an Instagram post and I came. And that goes along with other things that I do. I like to learn in a way by showing up to places and just sitting there quietly and listen. And through that, like I do that in other places. So I've never been on an actual college visit. What I do is I show up to colleges whenever I'm near them and just kind of act like I belong. And so like I'll walk around and I'll go to their gift shop and maybe buy like a headband, and then I just walk around and go to classes. And that's something that I want to do for the rest of my life, and I hope that you do as well, is that if you go somewhere and you act like you belong, you belong. And so if you want to be a part of something, act like you are a part of it, and you will be. Thank you.